Hey everybody, I would like to welcome you to another Ivinex online training webinar. My name is Brett Lund and I'm going to be the host. And today's webinar is going to focus on reports. We're going to learn all about how to build reports and what all the settings mean, and learn about the different pieces of reports and kind of how your data works with reports. A couple quick notes here. This is an interactive webinar. You can ask questions via chat on your Join Me widget that's running toward the top of your screen. There should be a chat icon. You can click that to open up the chat during the webinar. If you have a question, feel free to submit that via chat. I'll do my best to answer, or even modify the webinar to show an example to help answer your question. Please note, the only audio that will be heard is my own. Just keep the noise down. And I think that's about it. We're going to get started here and go to the slide and learn about reports. Okay, so the first thing I think we should talk about when you're building reports, you're just getting started with building reports, or maybe your experience with reports, and there's been a few things that have eluded you or maybe have been confusing. I think one of the first things I'd like to talk about when it comes to building reports in Ivinex is it's really good to start out by having a good sense of how your data is stored in Ivinex. I mean, understanding, your Ivinex site and how the data pieces come together or how things are separated. That will help you when you're building different reports. Also, before even getting started, it's a great idea to have a very clear idea of what you want to get out of a report. What kind of report are we building? What kind of data are we trying to retrieve? That can help as well. And sometimes for some companies, reporting is so important, they're very report-driven, that a lot of times that's kind of the starting point. You look at what reports you're going to want to get out of the system, analyze the reports, and based on those types of reports, it can influence or even help shape how things are stored in Ivinex to enable those kind of reports. So there are a few pieces of advice before you even get going. Okay, another thing I want to, what you're looking at here on the slide is you're looking at a couple of spreadsheets, actually. This top one represents maybe like accounts, where you have an ID and an account name and maybe some phone number. These are just examples, but this would maybe be one spreadsheet, and this other one maybe would represent a person or a contact. So you'll see we have in the spreadsheet, we've got a line for each, account or company in this spreadsheet. And for this one, we've got a line for each, contact that we may have in our other spreadsheet. And the reason why I put this up here is one of the confusing things that can happen when you're building a report is you may get maybe kind of duplicated data, or maybe you're not sure why you're getting, two lines with a company name and one contact name, those kind of things. And so the reason why is because in the end, all of your data sets, like an account module or a contact module or a lead module or whatever you've got, think of them as spreadsheets. They've all got column headers, like a spreadsheet, where this would be the field name, and then all the records that live, all your records where the account name has a value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so if you had a couple, when you're trying to build a report, you can combine modules. I want my account modules and my contact modules to come together in one report. Just picture two spreadsheets jamming together into one spreadsheet in the end, and how would that match up? So that, if you think of it that way, I think it can help troubleshoot maybe when you're building a report and you're not getting exactly what you want. So that's about it on that. I just wanted to focus on the idea of your data is a spreadsheet in Ivinex. And when you bring reports together, if it's just one module, a report based off one module, probably going to be very straightforward. If you're combining two modules or even 3 or 4 or 5, it could be more complicated as you try to combine all these spreadsheets into one. All right, so let's zip along here. Okay, I'm just going to describe what you're looking at here, and then we're going to jump in and start going through the different report settings. But what you're looking at here are reports in Ivinex consist of, you have the ability per report to have 3 pieces per report. The very first part is kind of the table data, or the spreadsheet view. Looks like this bottom left corner down here. So you're always going to have that when you build a report. It's going to combine whatever you're doing, columns, filters, modules, and it's going to create this table data look. And so that's the very first part of a report. And everything else, like a summary, which is this part over here, or a graph, which is the part you see up here, both of these pieces are always based off of the original table data. So if your table data is right, and you have it pulling the kind of data that you want, then you can build a summary that will give you an accurate, result. And you can have multiple summaries and multiple graphs. So get the table data right first, and you can build as many summaries as you want, and it'll be accurate, or graphs. The data will be accurate. But remember, it always comes back to the table data is what powers these other pieces. So let's jump in and build some stuff here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the first one we'll do is it'll kind of, let's look at some data here. I've got an accounts module, with different pieces of data, and it's a very basic accounts module. This may be very common to most people. And then, a contacts module. Most people are tracking contact-related data in Ivinex. And through how Ivinex works, I can link, my different records together. One account could have 100 contacts, or you could have a contact working for multiple companies. So how that's represented is through either, one-to-one links, like a linked record like this, or a related area down below that supports, a one contact to many something else. So one to many going this direction, and then when I'm over here on the account, a one to many going the other direction. All right, so the first report is going to be based off of this account and contacts module. All right, so I've got this one that's called the simple report. And the focus on this one is going to, I'm going to show you how just a couple settings can drastically change how the report comes out. So the first thing we're going to do is, when you create a new report, I'm going to move this over here, is click New, go to your Reports tab, click New, and you're creating a new report right here. Also, you can, on a new install of Ivinex, it comes with 2 folders. You've got a Reports folder and a Custom Reports folder. Normally, any custom coding that we do for you for reports, they'll always be in the Custom Reports folder. And the reports that you build will, this is the default. You're going to want to put them in your Reports folder. Now, a lot of people have a whole bunch of reports, so you can right-click on this folder or other folders, and it's not working for me because I have the Join Me thing on, which interferes with that. But you can right-click on your folder and get a menu that says create a new subfolder. So you can create as many as you want and organize it out. So maybe you have reports and then sales and service or whatever kind of subfolders you want, and then put your reports in there. All right, so we're going to go back to the simple report. Okay, when you first create a report, give it a name. And a description is just for you to remember what it is or what this report's all about. It is really not displayed anywhere. And then this tabs area, really that's calling to it which data modules do you want to use for this report. So that's where you click the Add button, and then you'll pick it from your list. Pick which data module you want. And when you very first pick one, you'll see there's a few other settings in here, like a filter, or this outer join checkbox, or link type, where you have all, related, embedded, converted, or copied from. So you've got a few choices right off the bat. Let's say you've already added the module. A lot of people may forget or don't know that to get back to that setting window, just double-click the module here in this list. So double-click, should load it up again like this. And now I can make adjustments to the settings and then save it, and then maybe move to the other one, double-click, and adjust the filter for that module. So let's remember that one. Okay, another thing that's important is the order. The order in which these modules appear. We do have an up-down, so you can say make that one first, or make that one first. Now you can modify the order, and that does influence the way your report turns out. Essentially, in the end, if you think of this report builder as kind of like a database query tool, where you are building some logic to ask Ivinex for certain data, you're asking for it in kind of a plain language. You'd be saying something like, let's see if I can say it in like plain language. We're kind of saying, give me all contacts. Okay. I've got a contacts module here and an accounts module. So in plain language, it's asking Ivinex for, give me all contacts where, and then that's where the filter comes in, where the first name contains Joe. Okay, and then take into effect these other pieces, and give me all accounts where whatever filter I have in effect there. So I'm asking for contacts first, and then accounts. That's kind of the way it's going to proceed in grabbing the data. So let's see, how do I want to adjust this here? Just give me 1 second to get this lined up. I want to demonstrate how order makes a difference. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that filter off of here. Okay, so just straight contacts. And sorry if I'm pausing here, guys. I'm just following some directions I set up for myself to make sure I get this right. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to have link type all. I want all contacts. And since it's the first module, really link type doesn't matter to me that much. And then outer join, I'm going to have that checked, and I'll talk about what that means here in a minute. So that's that one. And then for accounts, I'm going to modify that. I'm going to turn outer join on, and I'm going to ask for all related accounts. So the idea is, give me all contacts with no filter, and I want all accounts that are related to the contacts that I'm pulling. Okay, and I'm going to leave this outer join checkbox on. We'll see how that looks. Let's run that. Oh, I needed to save it. Sorry. I'm still getting that Joe filter going. Sorry about that. Okay, run that. Okay, so here's a good example of some strange stuff going on. So I've got Joe Tester 3 times. I've got an account here as well, and then I've got some blanks as well. This Judy, a company, and maybe some contacts with, obviously there's no accounts, but I'm getting all the contacts. Why? Because I'm asking for all the contacts first. Give me all the contacts and the related accounts. These ones don't even have a related account, but I'm asking for the contacts first. So that's why I'm getting that. And you'll see these blank lines, they just represent where it can't find data. And the situation here is I'm getting Joe 3 times because he's actually related to 3 different accounts. So Joe, yes, and this related account. Joe again, and that related account, and again a 3rd time. So that's why you get 3 lines, because we're trying to combine 2 spreadsheets together, and there's no other way to display it. There's no other way to display it. Now, if I based a summary off this and said, let's do a count of how many accounts my contacts are, work for, or something like that. You get Mary 1, Will 1, and Joe 3, based off the records that are in here. Okay, so essentially the way I have it set up, I'm saying give me all contacts with a related account. So we're going to do the same report again, and we're going to modify this accounts module setting. We're going to turn off this outer join. And what does that mean? With it checked, it means give me all of the accounts, no matter what. Even if there's, it's not like it's kind of like, how can I say that? The first one is all contacts with a related account, and with or without a related account is kind of what it means. So I'm looking for all contacts, and I'm going to get them even if they don't have a related account. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to click Update, Save, Run. And now what we're getting is, by turning that off, it's basically saying, give me all contacts with only a related account. So I don't want anybody else who has a blank or is not linked to an account at all. I only want people where I have a contact and I have a related account. Okay, so on means give me everything, even if there's blanks. Off means only where I can match a contact with an account. Okay, so that's what that does. Now I'm going to do a simple reordering. I'm just going to reorder the modules. I'm going to put the accounts on top. So give me all accounts and contacts. Let's run that again. Okay, and it's drastically changing the way in which my report pulls at this point, because now I'm asking for, you'll notice there's no blanks in the account column, because that's the first thing I'm asking for. I want that first, then try to match it up with contacts. So I hope just by kind of playing with a few of these settings and reordering these modules, I hope that helps in the language in which we're asking for the data. It makes a huge difference. This is the same report. All I did was I clicked, accounts first, then contacts, and it made a huge change in the way I'm asking for my data, and it gets returned to me. Okay, so any questions about that part from anybody? All right. I'm going to put that back the way it was, and we will move on. Okay, what else? I need to go over probably some more additional settings here real quick. Let's see if I missed any. Let's go over some of these other buttons real quick. not only can you pick your tabs or modules, but based off of what you've selected, that table data, which is the first part of the report, which looks like, this, how do I decide, what columns to use or, what order they are, that kind of thing? That's in this second tab right here. It's called Columns. And it's kind of the same as picking a module. I just click Add, and what I have to pick from is based off the modules. So if I'm looking at this, I can see that I've got the contact module selected and the accounts module selected. So it starts giving me all the choices possible. This is every field from my contact module, and it says the module name, then the field name. So all of these demo contact ones are the fields from my contact module. As I go down further, you'll see that now it switches to account, and it looks like I've got a question. So 1 second. Okay, so I've still got a question about the outer join. I'll backtrack to that here in a moment. Let me finish explaining this part here on the columns, and then we'll go back to the outer join. Okay, so once I've selected my modules, I need to pick some columns. And again, I have everything available to me based off the modules I picked. Okay, so let's add a new one. And I've got, let's see, first name, last name, account, and this multi thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. I want the cell phone. Okay, so I just click it. It adds it over here. That means it's going to be added as a column in my report. And this kind of piece of code, you can't really do much with that. It has to be like that. But this up here is the column name up here. And you don't have to stick with the default. I could call it anything I wanted. Mobile phone. All right, so if I want my column to say something different than demo contact cell, I can easily just rename it. Click update on that. Move that to there. Actually, maybe there. And let's see what that looks like. And I need to save. That's the thing with reports. Go slow and save a lot. Okay? Sometimes you have to close it to get it to know what you're doing. Oh, so here's my mobile phone. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out a little bit. Okay, so it says mobile phone here. So I changed what my column is, and you can do that for every one of them. And if you need to edit it again, just double click it, just like the modules. Double click it and change it to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to, and if you want to remove it, highlight it, click remove, and then save that. All right, so let's go back to that outer join dealy really quick. Okay, let's turn that back on the outer join for this one, and run the report one more time. Okay, so what it means is I'm asking for two sets of data, all contacts and all accounts. The outer join checkbox, if it's checked, it means give me all the contacts and all the accounts, even if there's blanks, meaning this isn't a complete record here. This represents a contact and an account, and this represents a contact and no account. Okay? But I have the outer join checkbox selected for both, so no matter what, just return all, even if you can't find an account. Okay? If I turn off the outer join for the accounts, like that, it's basically saying give me all contacts and only contacts where you can also find an account. So instead of just all and showing blanks, I'm only going to get contacts where there is an account as well. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. No blanks. Give me no blanks. That's when what we can call it, the blank remover checkbox. If you uncheck it, you're only going to get contacts with accounts, and if I check it, then I could get contacts without accounts and contacts with accounts. So hope that helps answer that. Yes, great. It's hard to explain. Okay, so I hope I'm glad I answered that one. Okay, so let's talk columns some more. There's a couple choices that you have. You've got, well, actually, you've got the normal column, which is this select column type, field, multi-field equation. Field means just give me a field. You know, very simple. The multi-field lets you combine fields. So I said, I want a multi-field, and this is my column name just for fun. And what I did is I combined all the address information together for my contact address, contact city, state, zip, all into one. You know, I could add in extra, you know, characters and or whatever else I wanted, and it's gonna output, you know, what I put in there. I'm gonna reload that one just to make sure that it saved that. Run. Yeah. So you'll see that there's no address for this, but it's still added in that text I typed in. But anyway, the idea is I've combined multiple fields from my contact module into one line or one column header, the multi-column. This is, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of data all in one. Okay, and then that third one is the equation. That's normally used by Ivinex, where we will make some adjustments for some people who are asking for, I won't go too in depth on that, but we can add in some different, equations, maybe using some field syntax and other things like that. So that's kind of what that column is used for. Currently, for you guys, and I believe it's maybe version based. Oops. I don't know what I'm doing there. Over here, if I pick it, it might lock down on you. And, there's a reason for that. But we're looking to, just so you know, we're looking to completely overhaul the entire report system and give you way more powerful tools. But for now, if you need to do some kind of equation in there, just give us a call and we'll make it happen for you. Okay? So, what's next? Okay, order by. Order by is fairly simple, and I'm sure you're probably used to it by building filters, but it works the same way in here. So let's, I don't know, let's add a record ID or something. Column from my contact. All right, and then let's order by record ID. Yeah, a little weird when we got three of the same guy in here, but I'm ordering by my record ID 1111234. So you can do multiple order bys, like maybe order it by their first name and then by their, I don't know, something else, zip code or something, some way to group them or order them in many different ways. So you can adjust that. Let's do the first name. Joe, Judy, Mary, Will. Yeah. So, you can just set up as many as you want or sub order by. One thing to note is, and this is the same thing for filters, there's two types of ordering that you can do. One is the one that's blank here that doesn't have this thing out to the side is ascending order. That would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then descending order would kind of be the opposite, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 type thing. So it probably should say ascending right here since that's what it's officially called. But just know that this one is ascending and the other one is descending. Okay, so you can do different order bys or not. All right, so let's quit playing around with this report because it's not that exciting. And let's go on to let's go on to talk about some of these other pieces. So back to the slide. Okay, so one more time. What we've been looking at is just basically setting up a report and building out the table data. And based off of that data, remember, when you got to get it right, get your table data right, so it's pulling accurately the right information you need before even moving on to summarize it or build a graph off of it. Okay, you got to get this part right first. So let me just make sure I don't have any other settings. I guess I could talk about permissions real quick. Just like filters, reports have permissions. Each report can have its own permission. So you click on the permissions tab here, and then you can do users. Just assign view permissions to certain users or entire groups or multiple groups, and it's all done through either just clicking it or control clicking like this, even whatever you want to do. So that's how you do permissions. The same for the edit. This column is for who can view it. This one's for who can edit it. So that's permissions. All right, so let's go to this new report we haven't seen yet. We should probably look at the data first. Let's look at the data first. So I have a module called Opportunities. And let's just, take a peek at it. Okay, so I'm tracking a bunch of stuff here relating to, maybe a deal that I've got going on, something I'm working. And it's with this company. And, 1 second, I've got a question. There's a question about if you are the creator of the report, can you see it without giving yourself permission? And yes, the answer is yes. You created it, so you would have permission to see it. So the answer to that is yes. Yep, no problem. Okay, so back to here on the opportunities. What I've got here is a record where I'm tracking some dates. I'm tracking some, numbers like projected revenue, and maybe even a stage. Where are we in this sales stage? This one's on negotiation. Maybe this one I've had my second meeting with somebody. Whatever else. But I'd like to report off this. I'd like to know, hey, how many deals do I have in, whatever stage? Do I have 5? Am I working 5 deals? Where are all my deals? And what's my projected revenue from all this stuff? Or even what's the projected revenue by stage? What am I looking at? I've got $100,000 in negotiation and, $200,000 on a, sent proposal. So we need to, move this along in some way. So initially, we just want to make sure we're tracking the right pieces of data to empower that report, and then we'll build it based off that module. Okay, so this one's pretty straightforward because it's built all off of one module where I think I have everything I need. I've added this opportunities module, and I set up a filter for this one. And I'll just quickly go over it. For my opportunities, I've got 2 linked records on there, and it gives me some flexibility with my opportunity. I can either have an opportunity that's related directly to an account, so maybe I'm working with a company, and it's a company opportunity or an account opportunity. I also have a field where maybe it's a person. Maybe it's an opportunity with just a single person and not so much the company. But I have to take that into account. I have to compensate for that when I am building out my report, because I want only account-related opportunities in my report. So I'm saying the account is not blank, and the contact is blank. So account-only opportunities, please. Then I don't want to see anything where we've won. That means the deal's closed. It's all done. And I don't want to see anything that we've lost. That's not what this report's about. This report is going to be about what are we working on, what's not lost, what's not won. It's some other stage. It's somewhere in between, and where are we at on those? So I built a filter here to give me my data back that I want. Really, none of these other settings matter. Outer join, I mean, yes, I want all. Link type, it really doesn't matter because I'm just pulling from one module. It's only when we have multiple modules do these settings kind of come into play with each other and interact with the different data sets. Okay. Columns. I've just added a few, and I'm ordering them a certain way. So my report looks like, here's the table data here. So it's looking pretty good. I'm getting the account, my stages, projected revenue, maybe like a confidence level, which is a percentage of that based on what stage I'm in. So I appear to be getting the data I want. So I can move on to building a summary. Again, like I said, I can have as many as I want. My first one, you would just click New, by the way, to make one, New, and then set it up however you want. My first one is going to do a sum of, it's like a total. I'm just going to total up some values here. And I'm going to total up my confidence field and subtotal it by my stage. So how can let's go back over here. Here we go. So again, here's my projected revenue, and because I'm on sent proposal, it's giving me some calculation in between where I feel this confident about the deal. I mean, whether that works for you or not, again, just an example. But I'm going to use this confidence value to sum up all of the confidence values and then subtotal them by what stage I'm in. That's what I'm doing in this report. Let's run that. Take a peek. So in negotiation, I've got a total confidence value of this number, and it's a total of all that, or a sum of it. Again, second meeting, it breaks them all down. And then at the end of all summaries, you always get a total number, which is the sum total of all the other sums. Okay? So that's that one. Let's talk about the next one. The difference with a count and a sum is the sum's going to try to add up numbers, and a count's just merely going to count how many records you have. That's it. So if I have 5 records in stage first meeting, then that will be my count. So how many deals do I have in, negotiation? 8. How many do I have as a lead? 10. Those kind of things. So that's what the count is for. I'm using the sales stage, and I'm actually subtotaling by sales stage because I want to see the breakdown. So we'll run. We get to here, and I actually get that. I get negotiation. I have 2 deals, 2, 2, 1, 1, total of 8. So that's 2 summaries based off that same exact data. You can, again, have as many as you want. All right, moving on to a graph. A graph has a ton of settings. But it's kind of the same idea. Again, it's all based off that table data. What kind of graph do I want? I want a bar graph. You've got a bunch of different choices here, and I'm not going to demonstrate them all at all. I do have very good documentation on the different graphing pieces on the training site. What is the title that appears on my graph? I'll have a big graph, and the very top of it, what's it going to say? Mine's going to say projected revenue accounts. That will remind me what I'm looking at. I'm going to group it by my stage. My sales stage is how it's going to group. You could break it down even further with another group by sales, then by, I don't know, whatever you wanted to do there. Maybe sales stage and then the person working the deal. You could do that. How about that? That's a good one. What are the graph values? I actually want to see the value of the revenue. So graph that. I want to see what's my projected revenue per stage. And what is the value going to be? It's going to sum it. And on this one, you get one additional setting. You got a count, which is just, 5 of those records. It doesn't really, it's probably not a good idea to go projected revenue, which is a dollar amount, and then say count that. I'm looking to sum it up. But you also have an average. count, sum, and average. So you can use average in here in your graphs to kind of maybe get averages of something. You can you can add labels on a graph. Well, let's just run this and I'll explain what the labels are. Okay, so right now I'm looking at a title of the graph, and over here, this part on this side is my sales stages, and then down here it's representing, kind of where I could go on my graph, like kind of the range, and then these graphed elements are my projected revenue. So I've got that much as a sum for cent proposal. That's the kind of the value I've got there, I guess. 134,000 in cent proposal. You can put labels like down here and on the side. That's your X label and Y label. Test 1 and test 2. See if that updates. It does. So I could, make this larger so it doesn't override everything. Let's try that. Oh, well, I'll demonstrate that on the dashboard. It's not rewriting my report. I guess I could do it bigger. There we go. Nope. Works better on the dashboard. It makes it as big as you want it, but right now it's just kind of small. But you can see you got labels. You can adjust these. What do they say? Let's take that out. Some other settings that you can adjust for your graph. Let's close that and run it again. Okay, you've got this advanced button. That's got a whole bunch of settings. I mean, you've got some general settings. What's the canvas color that I guess you could call it the background color. And there's so many of these, I'm not going to go over them all, but generally ones that you might use. What's the background color? That's your canvas color. What's the width and the height? You can specify that if you want, or you can just kind of leave it blank and then it'll just kind of default to something, but you can specify those. The title position, that's this title right here. Where is it? Top, left, height, width, and everything's in pixels. So if I said, 50, that would be 50 pixels from the top. So this box represents the top, 50 pixels down. That might be, put it down in here actually. So like 10, and then you could say comma, left. How far left? So maybe I want it clear over here, or maybe I want it, farther over. I could say, 80, and then height and width. You can specify all of those settings. And make sure that if you do actually start typing something in here, specify them all, top, left, height, and width. So put a value in for everything. You can change the color of the title, pretty self-explanatory, and the font size, which I believe is also in pixels. So you could say, 10 pixels, which would be pretty small. Okay, there's a bunch of settings here for that access label, the label that you saw here and on the bottom. This gives you additional positioning. So it was over the top of the text by default, but I could push it out, clear out to here if I wanted to, and the other one I could maybe tighten up so it's a little closer. What color, size, all of those things. Depending on how you build your report, you might get a legend when you're doing when you're doing, let's see, it would be this. If I do group by this, then by this, the then by part is going to be in your legend. It's going to be in a like a block right here. I don't know what this is going to look like, so I'm going to just do this for fun, see what we get. Oh, that's a mess. Anyway, this box right here with the color coding is the legend, and so the legend applies to the then by setting right here. And then you've got all those settings about that. How does it look? Like I could position it differently, or make it a different color or size, or horizontal or vertical. Right now that it defaults to horizontal, or I believe, no, vertical. I believe it's reading in a vertical layout where I have a color, a name, a color, a name, and I believe horizontal might be color, name, and then color, name, and then go out like that. Pretty sure. I'm going to clear that out so it doesn't look horrible like that. Click run. Okay, much better. So those are, you got a lot of settings for your graph. These are the graph values. You've got a few things you can do, like color inside of here. What is this color? I put a color in there. If you're doing some kind of dollar sign or numbers, you can say, you know, what is the prefix, like a dollar sign. Or if it's percentages, you could, you know, put a percentage in there. But really, you could put whatever you want in there. What is the prefix? What shows up before, and what shows up after? How many decimals to display? You can decide. What is the decimal character? That's kind of a silly setting. I'm not sure what else you would use, but I guess you could use anything you want, you know, like that for your decimal character. Thousands, you know, as it tries to break up the thousands, what character do you want to use for that? I put in a comma. Hiding zeros would be just, you know, get rid of all these extra zeros, you know, at the end maybe. And then just a few other settings here, minimum value, maximum value, those kind of things. Again, I have all of this documented. Save that. Okay, you can build multiple graphs off of your table data. So this is just one, but let's see, what else could I build? Don't know if I have time. This is running a little long. I don't know if I can build another one, but let's just see. Currently, I'm getting the projected revenue broken out by stage. I guess I could also get a confidence value too if I wanted, broken out by stage, and maybe I could look at them side by side and say, this is what I look to make in the long run, and this is kind of maybe where we are. Or I could probably combine my confidence in here and use a different graph type that breaks the graph in half, shows me maybe this much confidence for the total, you know, line in some way. Because you do have stacked bars and you know, all these different types. Okay, any questions so far before I move on to what you can do with reports now that we've actually built some? Any questions so far on what we've seen here? Anybody? Nobody? And sometimes I wonder if there's some lag on this chat, because by the time I say nobody, you know, a question comes in. So I'm going to give it another second here. No? Okay. Okay, so what can we do with these reports? Well, if you've ever been to your dashboard, the dashboard area is where you can display reports. If you haven't built any reports, the dashboard is going to be a big white screen. It's not very exciting. So you want to build some reports, and once you've done that, you can select those reports to show up on your dashboard and move them around, resize them, make your own dashboard, however you want it to be. So I'm going to zip over to the dashboard, and you know, this looks familiar. We've been looking at this. So on the dashboard, you'll have, what you'll see in this box over here is you'll see first, this will be the name of the report. So that's a report, this is a report, this bold area, you know, this means these are all reports. And then it'll break it down. What do I want to see from this report? Well, I want the table data of my account opportunity report. So I've selected that. That's this right here. I could just, you know, resize it or move it anywhere. I mean, let's put it here maybe. I've got my graph. I've selected to show that, and it's just too big. You know, I need to make that smaller. So there we go, done. If I leave and come back, my report is where I left it last time. So I've seen some people with a whole dashboard of just graphs. Looks pretty cool, actually. Summaries are another piece. And so for that one report I built, we've got a table and two summaries, which I'll pull out here. So there's this one and this one. And again, just put them wherever you want, whatever size you want. And the nice thing about your dashboard is that it will, every time you click it, I'm looking at the latest up-to-date data. Or every time I come here, the reports run immediately, and I'm looking at the most up-to-date data. The table data, I don't think I've said this for anybody who doesn't know, but the table data you can actually interact with. You can't do anything with this. You can't. I'm clicking on it right now, but you click on it. I guess you could print it. That's about it. But the table data, you can actually interact with these line items. So I can click that, and it'll load something for me. Like this is the opportunity record that represents that item right there. There's my value. So with your table data, you can interact with it. I just got a question about printing a graph. That should always be there. There's a question about whether you have to do something to make this button available, and I believe that the ability to print, this print thing here, I believe it's always there, if I'm not mistaken. It may be tied to whether you have the permission to print, though. I'd have to check that. So printing is a permission in your group or user option settings that the admin of your site will give you. Anyway, back to the interactiveness of these table data. A lot of people use that for lists that they need, lists of data that they need to interact with. So, what are my tasks? You can go here in activities, but maybe you just want to have a dashboard that you're working on. What are my things I need to work on? Bam. What deals are, do I need to be looking at? This one. Who do I need to call? All of that, you can build a report and interact with it on your dashboard. Okay. So let's go back to reports, because there's a few other things you can do, and then I think we should probably be done. I'm going to jump back to here. I think I have one more slide. What can I do with my reports? Yes. Okay. Your reports, you can export them. Once you run a report, you can export that data, and it comes out just like you set it up. So with your account, your column headers and the data, it just comes out exactly as you see it. You can email reports if you want. It kind of looks like this, or I could click the email button, and then it pulls up an email window like you normally see, and the report is in there like that. There's more, but obviously I don't have it all here, but let's see that in action. So a simple report, I could export it. I'd get that. I could email it. It looks like this. And what else? Oh, you can even set up workflows. You can even set up workflows that will email a report to you if you like. Like maybe you set up a timer or something, and on every Monday email URL, it's a URL to the report. So like a one-click. Sorry guys, there was a question about what is the email URL. And the email URL is the link to this report. Like, go right to it in Ivinex. Of course, you would need to be logged in to get there, but that's what it is. It kind of means two things. I'm going to email the URL to somebody. So you click it, pops up an email, has the URL already in it. Okay, so there's that. Again, you can do workflows that are set up to email reports as well. And then this last piece, let's talk about this, auto rerun. What that means is the amount of time that we're giving the report to run, and still, how long do you have to run before you kind of time out? So there's two things that can happen. Some people build very complicated reports, and they may take a little bit longer to run. So what Ivinex will do is it'll try to run it within the time that you give it, and then if it fails to complete in that time, it's probably going to show you a cached version that may not be up to date. So you may need to adjust this number. Normally, you're probably going to get most of all your reports to run within the default. But if you built something really complicated and it's not finishing, maybe come in here and adjust the time that it has to run before it falls back to a cached version. Okay. And then there's this Save Copy button. I would just say don't click that. And there's a reason. Save Copy. It doesn't necessarily work the way you think it will work. I build a report and I click Save Copy, and you think that I would get Report 1 and then Report 2 based off of that one. And it does do that, but the problem is that when you click Save Copy, it's almost like saying create another one and keep them somehow linked together, okay? So it's probably not what you're looking for when you're clicking Make a Copy. We're looking to change the functionality behind that so that it's more self-explanatory as to what it does. But if you're looking to create another report based off another one, I would just create a new report. That's probably your best bet. All right. Are there any other questions based around kind of what we've seen here, or what you can do with reports, or anything that you think I've missed and you've still got a question about? I'll give you, we'll just give it a minute here to take any questions, and then I think we'll finish up. Anybody? Auto refresh the dashboard. There's a question about auto refreshing the dashboard. That's a good question. You might have stumped me on that one. I think I know the answer. Trying to remember if it actually runs on its own or if you just have to click it. Let's see here. Take to run, it still run automatically. It may run automatically no, I don't think so. I will have to find out for sure, but I believe that it runs once when you get there, and if you want to update it, you would just click it. I believe that's how you would refresh your data. I hope I'm not mistaken on that, but I believe that's truly how it is. Unless maybe we made you a custom dashboard, which we've done for some people, and maybe that's set to, auto refresh itself in some way. Any other questions? Okay. No? Looks like we're coming up on just about an hour here, so thanks for sticking with me, guys. There's a lot to talk about with reports, and thanks for attending this. I hope I answered a bunch of questions. So let's get to the close here on this. I will be posting this webinar on our training site, training.ivinex.com. You can find the other webinar videos there. And in addition to that, there's a lot more about reports and how they work. I've got text-based screenshots and all sorts of stuff. Additional information you can find out about reports or any other topic on the training site. Leave me a comment if you want. And if you've got someone else who needs that needs to be on this webinar, needs to attend these webinars, have them sign up on the training site. There's a tool down there for that. You can also find out about all webinars or confirm you're attending them by going to our Facebook page, click the like button, you'll know about it, and you can even, I post all of the events there as well. So that's about it, guys, for reports. I want to thank everybody again for attending. This was a little bit longer one, but I hope you guys learned a lot, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.